Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CARES Project podcast. We're back again with Joy Zuraff and obviously Stephanie, who's here hosting with me today. This is a disgusting situation that everybody should really do something about. And if you're watching this, share this out to everybody you can because this is an epidemic that is sweeping across not only just the United States, Canada, but across the Western world. Children are being stolen right under people's faces. Yes, there are illegals screaming across the border, but there are people being trafficked domestically, and the children are being stolen. Child Protective Services, family courts, and all these things are the primary ways that they're going after our children because people are like, oh, well, the judge did it. No, the judge didn't follow the law. These people aren't following the law. They're using and abusing the court system and running a trafficking organization under the color of law, which means they should get maximum punishment for what they're doing because you shouldn't go to get help from a government institution and get abused. No, that should never happen. And so, Joe, you want to kind of bring us back and reintroduce yourself for maybe people who didn't see the first one. So let people know who you are.
My name is Joy. I am a single mom to two children, a 15-year-old Abbaston and a 6-year-old Kenlee. My 6-year-old has cystic fibrosis. I found out when I was pregnant. Both my kids are amazingly smart, smart girls, very smart girls. I moved to Florida a year and a half ago. Went through a divorce to get away from my family. I had always heard the salt air would be good for the lungs of people with cystic fibrosis. Help clear the sick. It'd be like hypersalt, helps loosen the mucus in their chest and gets the mucus out of their chest. The salt air will help do that. On March 6th of 2024, my daughter was medically kidnapped because I disagreed with the doctor wanting to put my daughter on Trikafta for an acute exasperation in the hospital.
Okay, so we kind of left off kind of what's going on now and so forth. So you want to kind of pick up on what's been going on because your daughter is being taken. She was moved what did you say, 6 hours away from?
Yeah, she's in Jacksonville, Florida.
So she's away from you, and now it's hard for you to go there to see her or find anything else out. Is your court still where you're at, though?
It's in Milton, Florida, which is about 40 minutes from me.
Well, it's better than 6 hours, and so they moved her over there so that you have less access. So what's going on with the things right now? Now that after they moved her, you said that they were talking about, some kind of, she's having nightmares and talking about people coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning, monsters coming in at 3 o'clock and all this kind of stuff. So did they do anything about that?
Far as I know, the only thing they've done is I know they put her in a counselor, and then a few months ago they were going to have her start trauma therapy, and they said that this trauma therapy was because of her cystic fibrosis. My counselor, who does deal with children, said that there was no need for her to be in trauma therapy. So I don't know what the trauma therapy is for.
Well, she's had cystic fibrosis pretty much all her life.
That's all she knows, yeah.
Why would she need trauma therapy for something that is normal for her?
Right. When I see her, you can tell that she's scared to talk, scared to say anything. She looks down a lot. If she's on the Zoom call, she looks for Lauren before she says anything. She's definitely scared. to say stuff. Everything's off. Everything's very off.
Those are bad signs.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
Yep.
And this is the problem with supervised visits.
You said you found an ashtray there as well at the foster home, and you said people with cystic fibrosis can't be around ashtray, cigarettes, and hot tub, right?
Yeah, you can't have smoke on your clothes or on your hair because it affects their lungs and their breathing. And because Lauren was doing visits, but she got mad because I didn't want Kenlee to go on an international cruise. And so, which the courts allowed her to go on the international cruise anyways and get off the boat in several locations while she's in foster care. And Lauren got mad that I didn't want her to go on the cruise and said that she wouldn't do the supervised visits anymore. But when we were at her house where she did the supervised visits, and she told me if I told them about anything that was at her house, she would end the visits. She has a hot tub. People with cystic fibrosis can't even be close enough to a hot tub where the droplets can get them because of the bacteria that hot tubs can carry that can cause illness or worse, death because of the bacteria so bad in hot tubs. And then there was an ashtray full of cigarettes on her deck. I have proof. And but I don't know. There's just so much.
So, I mean, you're being told that if you tell about what is going on at the foster parents' place, that they're going to cut you off of supervised visits. So
yes, she'll probably have visits with my daughter.
So they're smoking around your daughter, doing things that are very injurious to her health. But they're like, if you say something that we're putting your child's life in jeopardy, you're never going to see your kid. You're going to get those visits cut. So they're punishing you to stay silent while they put your child at risk of sickness and death.
And I did tell my lawyers, and my lawyers didn't do anything.
I hope those aren't your lawyers anymore.
No.
And how much money did you spend on these lawyers that did this?
I don't know. I know that this James Byrne, Pensacola, I know I gave him $3,250. He went to one hearing and he wasn't prepared to go to the second hearing. He's like, Tanya Davis, the DCF attorney, said there's court next week. And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, I didn't know about this. I said, it's been planned for 6 months. And he's like, he wasn't prepared. He didn't know about it. And he said that he wasn't going to be my lawyer anymore because I was argumentative with them, which there wasn't anything new. I wasn't argumentative. They were just, everything that he read was stuff that they had pulled out, were trying to say before, which was all lies. So he quit on me after one hearing, cost me $3,250.
And he took your money.
Took my money.
This isn't uncommon. I hear this happening over and over and over again. Over and over and over again.
Yes. And my current lawyer, Eunice, she's a court-appointed lawyer. She won't put any of my proof. She told me she won't put any of my proof. Tanya Davis, the DCF attorney, called my one counselor that I have, and she wrote a letter for me saying that my daughter should be returned, that I'm a good mom, and that the court is wrong. And Tanya Davis called my counselor and threatened her certifications to be a counselor because she wrote a letter for me to court. She threatened her. So my counselor, Dr. Donna, wrote Eunice, my attorney, a letter that she wanted submitted to court saying that Tanya's threatened her licensing or her certifications for her job. And Eunice told me she would not submit it to court. She's not her attorney. I'm not allowed anybody in the calls. I wasn't allowed anybody to go meet with her. I'm not allowed anybody on the calls with her. Nothing. Like she won't do anything. She won't submit that I don't have anything on my record, anything.
So what is this? So what are they even doing? What's the point? What's the point of all of this if they're not doing anything for you, right? Like,
to take your money, it's all money.
But I mean, like, that's extortion. That's just like, it's like you're. This is it's exploitation. It's financial exploitation.
And Eunice has told me that she's a court-appointed attorney. She has 75 cases, and that she's not getting paid by me.
So then, what is she there for? I would ask.
She's getting paid by somebody.
I'm like, if you're not going to be representing me and you're getting paid, well, what are you here for? You might as well get lost, and I'll figure it out myself. Because if you're getting paid and you're not representing me, then go deal with the other 74 cases and take mine off the list. Because I need somebody that's going to represent me, right? Like, wow. I mean,
she also told me that I couldn't go public again.
That's, you know what, this is, honestly, this is like dealing with pedophiles. I'm not even kidding. Because they want you to keep everything secret while they abuse you. Mm-hmm. And this is a mentality that you can't, they coerce and, like, you know, they molest a kid, I'll kill your parents. This is no different. Mm-hmm. Right? This is such disgusting, reprehensible behavior. Like, I'm surprised that people just accept this, but then they think that the courts are doing fine and that there must be a problem with you because the courts are good. Mm-hmm. All right.
I know what this has done to me. And I know what it's done to my other daughter because she's here. And I know that I have nightmares every night since they've taken my daughter. I can't even imagine what Kenlee is going through. I can't. I used to get kisses and hugs from her every single day. And tell me my daughter doesn't want to come home. They tell the courts my daughter doesn't want to come home, but I have proof that she says she wants to come home. They come to my house and they say that I'm a good mom, that I have a good relationship with my children. And then they go to court under oath and they say exactly the opposite. I'm a good mom. I love my kids. I want to be able to give my girls kisses and hugs every single day. My kids need to be together. I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. I mean, somebody stole your child. Nobody should go through this, right? Go ahead.
The fact that the workers that have done this to her tell her exactly how she has to act, that she can't get emotional in front of her daughter, that she has to act a certain way. I mean, this is abusive behavior. What they've done to Joy, and like I said, I'm about to cry now thinking about it because watching her body cam footage, I bawled my eyes out. The way they were treating her as they're taking her daughter away as a mom. Hearing Joy's story a lot has also made me very emotional because, again, as a mom who is against the medical institutions and what they've done to children, I can't even know what she's going through and how she feels and everything. This is a nightmare what they've done to her. It's very abusive. It's child trafficking. I mean, there's so many unconstitutional things taking place in Joy's life right now for her and her family.
As a father, I've had both my daughters taken. My youngest daughter, my oldest daughter taken. She got molested by the Child and Family Services. I had to fight them for 3.5 years. And then with my youngest daughter, because they didn't like what I had to say and exposed the government, well, I got strapped to a table, drugged. My oldest daughter got raped. And she got trafficked because of all of this nonsense. So my mentality is this has to end. Because I don't want anybody else to ever experience this kind of stuff, because the worst thing you could do to a parent is to take their kid for no reason and then punish them for that. That's insane. It'd be better to kill the parent than to take their children and then torture them with the children. That is sick, satanic, and disgusting. I'm sorry. I've had enough. This needs to stop.
I have parents that say, "Oh, like there's more to the story. There's more to the story." There is more to the story. I'm marked as holistic. I'm marked in the medical records, and once you're marked in medical records, they will continue to call CPS on you, and they will get you until they remove your child because you believe, a little bit of natural, even though you're doing medications. Even you have the right not to do medications, and you have the right to seek whatever doctor you want to see your daughter. And because I spoke up because my daughter had adverse reactions that were harming her, I shouldn't be punished. My daughter shouldn't be punished. My children shouldn't be punished. It's wrong. It's sick.
Yes,
medical freedom. There's no medical freedom in Florida. This is a very communist state.
I mean, it is. Wait till you don't come to Canada then. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, Canada's bad as it there, it's worse here. Like, I mean, come on. We elected Trudeau. Come on. I mean, but at the end of the day, nobody should be going through this. And you should be if your parents don't have rights, the children don't have rights. Because when you take away a child from a parent, you have a twofold deprivation of liberty. Deprivation of liberty on the child and the parent, right? And when you have these types of things, you have to demonstrate that there is justification, because the amount of psychological duress that is placed on the child and the parent is astronomical. Because at least if the child dies or the parent dies, they know that they can move on and there's closure. But while the child is there and it's unwarranted and they're torturing the child and the parent, you can only die once, but you continually torture the person day after day after day. It's sick. It is sick. It is disgusting. And people need to do something about it and not just sit down and say, oh, well, the courts are just doing their job. No, you have to be able to see justice. You have to be able to make sure that it's done. So what else is going on with this case now? After your daughter complained, they tried cutting her off and saying that if you report stuff, what else is happening? You have a lawyer now?
The court-appointed lawyer.
That's doing nothing.
That's doing absolutely nothing.
When was your last court date?
I think I don't want to lie. I think it was February 25th. They did extend it for 60 days. But they were going to move to adopt my daughter, and now it's May 6th.
So they wanted to adopt your daughter on the last court date at the end of February.
Yes, they wanted to move to adopt my daughter out because I haven't changed my way of thinking. The judge said, don't you think that we should give the mom unsupervised visits to prove that she has changed her way of thinking? I still don't have unsupervised visits.
When they said change your way of thinking, what do they mean? What exactly does that mean? Like, honestly, because I don't know what they mean when you say change your way of thinking. That's a very vague.
Doing better on Trikafta. I said I can tell she's gained weight, which is what Trikafta is supposed to do, because they said she's malnutrition. Well, if you look up cystic fibrosis and malnutrition, my daughter's partial pancreatic insufficient. She also had rhinovirus and pneumonia. So, of course, she's going to gain weight after she gets sick, right? And yes, being on Trikafta, they do gain weight. So they're also saying so they're also, okay, I'm starting to get other things in my head. They're saying that, well, isn't she doing a lot? She hasn't been in the hospital. I said, aren't you saying she's doing better? I said, well, I know that since she was on the cruise, she's had to been on 2 antibiotics. I said, I don't know if there's been any other antibiotics because they don't let me know. So I said, and yes, she was able to get better on those antibiotics and not get hospitalized. So that's a good thing. So I said, and he's like, you can't tell anything else. I said, I'm around my daughter. At this time, I got 2 4-hour visits in person in a small room, supervised. I said, I'm around my daughter 4 hours a month. I said, I don't know. I don't like, I'm with her, my daughter, and another person in a room. I don't know. I'm not around her. And he seemed irritated that I wouldn't say anything else. When Corinne and Lindsay were over at my house, the guardian of Leadham and the social worker, they said that if the guardian of Leadham said if they wouldn't have taken her, she would have died. She would have died. Had we not taken her, she would have died. She would have died. My daughter would not have died. My daughter did not need a lung transplant. My daughter was not on oxygen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She wasn't on oxygen at all. If you look at the medical records on March 12th, 6 days after they took her, her lungs are clear. She's not on any oxygen. She's breathing air.
But what was the reason that this guardian ad litem said this?
Because she said that I was killing my daughter.
Yes, but what justification did she give for doing this? Did she provide
She said my daughter.
Did she provide medical records? Did she provide a doctor's testimony?
She's just going off of what was said in court, and what was said in court was that my daughter needed a lung transplant now, and then they said that my daughter needed a lung transplant, all in the same paragraph. Then she needed one in 2 to 4 years. Then she needed one in 5 to 10 years.
Who said that?
Then she needed one in Dr. Sindel in Alabama. He said that she needed a lung transplant now. Then she said she needed a lung transplant in 2 to 5 years. Then she needed one in 5 to 10 years. Then she'd live to be to 20. But then if she was put on Trikafta, she'd live to be 70.
Who is this?
She didn't need a lung transplant. You have to see a specialist to be a lung transplant, not a lung specialist. There's a specialist to be seeing a lung transplant. She was not with any kind of lung transplant doctor.
Is this was a doctor in Alabama in Mobile?
Yes, the same one that said he told me that these doctors, I have him in records saying that these doctors were against me and that I need to record them because they're against me and that they are out to get me and that I'm not paranoid. They are all against me.
But this doctor said that your daughter needed a lung transplant at this point in time and just kept changing moving the goalposts.
Yes.
Did they give any? Did he give any reason why the goalposts kept moving?
Nope, and nobody questioned it.
Because this is a natural question. If you said you needed a lung transplant in a few months, then a few years, and then even further away, 4 or 5 years, why did it change 2 or 3 times? Why? These are questions that you need to know.
Yep.
Did you make a mistake? Because if you did, are you wrong on all of them?
Exactly.
Right? Like, this is not, you don't have to be a doctor. This is like common sense.
And my attorney, Tim Lever, didn't point any of that out, or Marshall Lever. And then they also, there's something else I was going to say. Sorry. There's just so much information.
No, that's fine.
How did Tim treat you so Tim and Marshall were your first attorneys. What was your relationship like with those 2 attorneys when you had them? And how do they help you? And how much did you pay for them?
How much what?
How much did you pay for them, and what did they help you with?
Well, I gave them I didn't give them cash. I gave them some stuff. And one of the items they gave back to me. I don't know if I mentioned all that right here. I don't know if I. Anyways,
we said that he was with you. He's a few times being in his office and stuff.
Yes. So after they took her, I was obviously very, very emotional and very sad. Right. Of course, my daughter was ripped from my arms, and I would be in his office, and he would be yelling at me, swearing at me, and I'd be sitting there crying, bawling. And I wanted to walk out, but I have nobody here. I had nobody, and I didn't know where to go and what to do. And he'd be yelling at me, and then he'd be like, "Well, I'm just upset because they're so awful." But he'd be yelling at me, and I'm sitting there bawling, because he's screaming at me, he's swearing at me, as I'm traumatized because my daughter's ripped from my arms, and he won't listen to me. And I told him I have all this proof, and he won't listen to it. And then he did listen to some, and he's like, "Well, you never denied x-rays. You never denied the dietitian." I said, "I know, I know." But it wasn't brought into proof. None of it was brought into proof. He also had me talk to a doctor in Fort Walton, and they put him on the stand. But when I went to talk to him, I brought him the medical records from January and February, and I brought him all the medical records. And he used to be an ER doctor, and he's a family doctor now. And he looked at all the medical records, and he said that my daughter should have never been taken, let alone CPS ever called on me. He goes, "You pissed somebody's ego off." He testified on the stand. They wouldn't let him say much because he wasn't a specialist. And they did not ask him that specific question of should CPS have taken Kenlee or even been called on Joy. Neither of those questions were even asked to him. I don't know why.
That's so. Just the fact that you have someone yelling at you when you're under duress, like, this is not something that needs to be done. I mean, I deal with a lot of victims of trafficking, people who've got their kids trafficked. Yelling at them while they're traumatized is not the way that you're going to get any useful information. In fact, you're going to.
And I wanted to go to trial. And he said I wouldn't win. And he said my family would testify against me. I said, I don't care. My mom's awful. She's abusive. She was always abusive to me. My sister's she's the one that's in and out of mental institutes, not me. My brother and his wife are they're abusive to their children. You know, like they yell and swear at their kids. I know my brother does. I know they just leave their kids at home, but I'm the one that's a bad mom. I'm not. They weren't even in mine and my kids' lives. My dad was in my life, my kids' life. My aunt was in our life. I have letters from people that were in our lives that my attorneys wouldn't submit any of that. People that were actually in mine and my children's life who said I was a good mom, that I did her medications, but they believed the lies of people who weren't even in our lives.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for this, but you wanted to go in and get that information. You wanted to have a trial because you wanted those people to come in and say that stuff on the public record. And that's really what the issue is, because those people they really want to bring those people to come in and lie to your face and testify on the public record and then come in and then have you do this again. Like, this is nuts what they're doing. And they're just coercing people. You should have went for a trial, right?
I know. And even my judge, even my attorney before he quit on me, said, "Well, I guess your daughter doesn't need a lung transplant. Maybe we should have gone to trial." I said, I wanted to go to trial. I told you, you wouldn't listen to me. You wouldn't listen to me.
Well,
Also, you expressed concerns about her diet as well. And what did he say to you when you expressed your concerns about the diet she was having at the foster?
She was getting well, because the foster, Lauren said that she had to give her to gain weight because she was losing weight on Trikafta when she first started it. And she's like, they're pressuring me. They want me to force feed her, and I'm not going to force feed her to gain weight. And she's like, so she's feeding her Snicker bars for breakfast. She's feeding her frozen yogurt on waffles for breakfast. She gets cupcakes for breakfast. She gets cake mix on the weekends. She's like eating all the cake mix for breakfast. And I wasn't okay with that. And I told my attorney that I wasn't okay with that because when you have cystic fibrosis, you're subject to CF diabetes because it affects your entire system. And I told my concerns this to Tim, and he said, "Who cares? Snickers has got protein in it."
Yeah, that's not the right answer. Let's take a short commercial break, and we'll come back on the other side.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
Yeah, so if you need any of the energy drinks or any of the MyPillow products, you can go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. They got lots of good stuff. Check it out. Also, if you want to support, fighting against the human trafficking and the stealing of children, you can go to the things in the ticker. Obviously, they have the MyPillow stuff there, but they also have a Give, Send, Go, and a donor box that's set up so people can come out. There's also affiliate links in the description on Rumble, and that would be Facebook, and also at BitChute. You can go there and find something. There's merchandise, or if you want to support directly, you can see it in the ticker coming across right now, and support a good cause, because we need to get this evil exposed. And we need to get it dealt with in an efficient manner, because we go, like you say, they go out and meet with politicians, lobby people, use the media, use the petitions, and all these other things that people have available to them to go ahead and take their rights back, because people need to stop stealing children. They need to stop acting like these people own us and we're their slaves. This is not, we're all created by God, and our rights come from God, not from them, and they cannot steal our children. Hands off. This is just enough. So, sorry, go ahead. Where were we at? Sorry.
We had talked about, we started the diet and the diabetes, and how Tim said it's okay at the Snickers. And then
But wasn't that something that they were saying, that they were screaming at you about, saying that she had diabetes, and that the doctor screamed in your face about this? But now they're doing things to create the circumstances for your child to develop diabetes.
Right.
And what's the
and they say that they're saying I didn't have her on peptides. Well, she was on Pediasure before, and she was with being on Hypersol and Palmazyme and Pediasure, with the dairy and everything. It was making the mucus that was in her chest where she was raspy, and she wasn't able to cough it up. She was choking. The milk was making her choke on her mucus, and I would be driving and she would be in the back seat, and I couldn't get over it. I didn't know if my daughter was going to make it. I didn't know if she was going to stop choking. And then all of a sudden she threw up a ton of mucus. I brought this up several times to her pulmonologist, CF pulmonologist in South Dakota. I said, I think Pediasure is making her mucus more thick. And he's like, no, that's, no. He said, no, it doesn't do that. And I said, well, if I'm sick and if I have mucus, I said, I know that milk makes my mucus more thick and icky. And he's like, no, that's not possible. So when I had seen the doctor in Aberdeen, South Dakota, he said to get my daughter off of dairy, get her off of gluten, because it makes their CF worse. And I did try, but she is a very picky eater. So I switched her to almond milk. I did let her have cheese and yogurts, and I didn't get her off of it completely, just because she's a very fussy child, a very picky child. And I know she needed the calories. I did find, like, in place of Pediasure, I found other nutritional drinks full of vitamins that I did get okayed by doctors and dietitians, but Dr. Com and DCF are saying that wasn't good enough.
But isn't it your right as a parent to do the treatment after you've consulted with doctors that you think is best for your child, and that your child is responding the best to? Because your doctor's not there 24/7 around your child. You are.
They're saying that she was completely malnutritioned and she's gained all this weight. But I fed her healthier. I fed her healthier foods. I wanted her to have more fruits and vegetables. She wasn't sick every single week. She was sick, it was over a year since she had been sick. They don't understand that when she was on the standard care, she was sick all the time, every single week, 13 antibiotics in a row, countless steroids. The choking of the mucus, where I didn't know if she was going to make it and live. It was scary. And then all of a sudden she'd throw up a ton of mucus, and it would just hang there because it was so thick. Nobody listens to what actually happens and has happened.
This is where they need to start actually paying attention to what's going on. And you have all of your medical records together. Yeah, you need to compile those, because other people need to see that, because it's very clear that the court is not going to do anything. The DCF, they're not going to do anything.
I took screenshots of all the, I don't know if I think I still have them, but I have pictures of me and going back and forth with the doctor, saying that my concerns, because those aren't notated in the notes. I reached out several times with all my concerns, and they were never put in the notes. I have emails to Vertex with the side effects of Orkambi, and that the specialist didn't care, and that nobody was helping me figure out another solution instead of Orkambi. They didn't care. Nobody cared.
No, because they're not there to care. They're there to take your kid, and they're there to make money, and they don't care. This is a well-oiled machine. This happens over and over and over again. This is what people have to understand. This is not random happenstance. This is not like, oh, we're incompetent, we made a mistake. No, because this is a repeatable process that's done over and over again. And I'm seeing it everywhere, no matter what part of the country or what, like I've been looking at, it's the same thing happening over and over again. So you can't tell me that everybody's suffering from the same delusion in the same courts all of the time, and they're incompetent in exactly the same manners. That's impossible, right? Because if you believe that, I got a bridge for you to buy in Brooklyn, I'll sell it to you, right? Oh.
And then when we moved back to South Dakota, in July of 23, went to see her doctor in Aberdeen. The next day, she wasn't doing well and her doctor wasn't in office, so they told us to go to acute care. Well, they didn't have an acute care, so we had to go to the ER. We went to the ER in Aberdeen, and they told us she needed an antibiotic, and I said, okay. And I had just done telling them that she had a severe allergic reaction to cefepime. I could be saying that wrong, and I apologize. And they bring in an antibiotic, and I said, what are you giving her? And they said, we're giving her cefepime. And I said, what are you doing? I said, I just got done telling you she had a severe allergic reaction to that. Why are you doing that? They didn't have a response. So they brought in another antibiotic, gave it to her. We had to get in an ambulance 3 hours back to Sioux Falls. We got to Sioux Falls. The doctor said, I'm just going to keep her, and she's off oxygen. I'm not going to give her another antibiotic. She's fine. I just want to keep her overnight and observe her. He said, if she's fine, you can go home tomorrow. I said, okay. I said, they say rest is the best medicine. If she's fine, does she have to be woke up in the middle of the night for treatments? And he said, no, if her stats are fine and she's doing fine, he goes, let her sleep. Rest is the best medicine. Let her sleep. I said, okay. The next day they said we could go home. She didn't need to be woke up in the middle of the night. Her stats were fine. She was fine. It was getting weird. They weren't letting us go home. Finally, they let us go home. I get home. There's a knock on my door. It's CPS. CPS is knocking on my door saying, we got a call that you refused medicine in the hospital. And I said, are you kidding me? And she's like, no, and you had problems in Omaha too. So right there, that tells me that the nurse seen on my medical records that I am marked. I'm marked in the system. CPS has me marked. The medical doctors have me marked, and they are targeting kids, parents that lean on the holistic side a little bit, parents that question anything. I called the social worker while CPS was there. I called the social worker at the hospital. The social worker contacted the doctor. The doctor said, yes, I told the mom that if Kenlee was fine, she didn't need to do the medications. I forgot to relay that to the nurse. That was done. She said that he was concerned that you weren't picking up medications. I said, what do you mean? What? I'm not picking up medications. I said, come to find out, they said I wasn't picking up Hypersol and Palmazine. I said, well, I told him that we weren't doing Hypersol and Palmazine anymore. We were doing acetylene with sterile water. That was in place of Hypersol and Palmazine. That case, they never came back. There was no letter to give me because there was no open case. I didn't do anything wrong.
Well,
but I marked in the medical records of refusing medications.
because they write up whatever they want, right? This like, I mean, people, it's like, I've seen it so much, I'm like, yeah, this is just normal. Like, I mean, as much as it's offensive, this is the norm. This is what people have to understand. When you go into these kinds of court systems, this is normal. This shouldn't be normal. This is the problem. We're getting close up on time. So what's going on with your court right now? You said that what they want to do on your next court date? And what is it?
6th, ECF wants to move to May 6th. DCF wants to move to adopt my daughter out.
And what reason did they give for this?
I haven't changed my way of thinking.
And again, that could be anything. You could be like, well, I don't want to wear a black hat. Don't like black. So that's the reason why. Like, I mean, it could be anything. That's not a reason. It isn't. They have to be specific of what is going on, but they're not. Because they don't have a reason. This is the point. They don't have a reason, so they're making stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just, I'm I'm glad that you're coming out and telling your story. I'm fed up that these kinds of stories still exist. Like, this should not be a thing. You should not go to a hospital and have them try to steal your children and then have the court system, the child, everybody working against you to steal your child. Like, what kind of, like, this is literally like hell. Like, who wants to live this way?
Right. And they say that, oh, the judge is a family man and he's, and he's for you. I'm sorry, but if the judge was a family man and he was for me, he would have seen through the bullshit. He wouldn't say that Corinne and Lindsay aren't lying. And he would have listened to me when I said I had proof that they were lying. And he wouldn't even look at my proof. Nobody would submit my proof that they were lying. He told me at one time if I submitted proof that he would terminate my rights. When I said that she didn't need a lung transplant and I had proof that they were lying, he told me if I submitted anything, he would terminate my rights.
As it stands right now, they need to abolish the Child Protective Services and they need to abolish the family courts. If you're going to have any type of thing like that, you need a jury of your peers, right? And no ex parte, nothing, right? Unless you have them on video with a gun to their head, then no, right? And if that's the case, then you take it to the law enforcement and have the police investigate and sort it out, right?
When the police came with DCF to take my daughters, they didn't even know why they were here. They didn't understand why they were taking my daughter. They thought maybe it was drugs or something. That you can hear it on the cop cams. They didn't even understand why they were at my home. Because they said that I was fighting them and I was belligerent and I was, they were scared that I would like fight them. And they said that I was like that in the hospital. And I've never been disrespectful. I've never been mean or yelling or anything. I've always been respectful. I've always been kind, even though they ripped my daughter from me. Even though they were lying about medications up in the hospital and changing her medications up in the hospital every single day. I was always kind. Never once was I mean. Never once did I raise my voice. Never once did I swear at them. Ever. I've always been respectful.
In the body cam footage, you can see that you explain the situation in the body, because I watched the body cam footage. You can see that you explain the situation of what happened in the hospital, and that you could tell they weren't willing to even listen to you. It was like, yep, just trying to get you to be quiet. And then they said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to take your daughter, and you can, you're going to be upset and blah, blah, but here's how you need to act when you go in there and tell her. You go in there and pack her stuff up and get her stuff together. And then we're going to, and then they told you exactly how you had to act in front of your daughter. That is abusive behavior. And they gave you 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes to even have an emotion. And they're like, all right, mama, it's time. And it was heartbreaking to watch that body cam footage, because again, you were very respectful. You were very kind to them. They came in again, laughing, telling you how you need to act. It was very abusive what they did to you in that body cam footage, emotionally.
Yes. And then my other daughter came home and she had a breakdown, and they told her if she didn't pull it together, she wasn't going to be able to say goodbye to her sister.
That's insane. I mean, this is a kind of treatment that should never happen. We're running up again here on time and so forth. I mean, this needs to get dealt with. We're going to have to bring you back on to talk about some updates, but then tell people where they can help you, how can they find you, and what do you need, especially with that court date coming up.
I need a lawyer that can help me in Florida. One that can fight for me, one that can give evidence, one that can, this is so wrong, this is so corrupt. I need somebody that can stand up for me and my family. I have proof. I need somebody that can help. There has to be somebody that can do something somewhere. This is taking a lot on my family financially. I have to get a hotel. They make the appointments to see my daughter in the morning, so I have to get a hotel 6 hours away. I'm taking time off work unpaid. I have to take my other child out of school. This is affecting all of us. This is so, anything would help.
And we've got our links in the description, and go support her. Share this information, do something, because we're going to be working on something, because this needs to be stopped. The people have to be the ones to stop this. Remember, especially in the United States, your Constitution begins with "we the people." When the government is not doing their job, it's up to the people to hold them accountable. And that's what the Constitution is there for, so that you have all of these processes to deal with it without having to become violent. And then you let the law deal with them. And if they get whatever the law gives them, that's their problem. They shouldn't have committed crimes, right? They knew better. And so we got to make sure nobody steals kids anymore. Anyway, I'm going to close here with a prayer, because, when you're praying, you can't be sinning, because I have some bad thoughts in my head about what these people need to get. And it's not actually bad, because it's justice, but I'm very angry for what they're doing, because this is not right. All right, I'll close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. And Father, I ask of you this day to watch over Joy and her children, and help her daughter to get taken out of that kidnapping situation and the abuse that they're putting her through. And help the men and women to come together, to stand together, to fight this evil, so that the children can be protected, because, Lord, we need the help, and to stop this stuff to the children by the people in the government is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. And thank you guys all for coming, and we'll see you guys again soon.